Hello viewers, welcome to Top Notch Online TV. It's me, Teacher Ennis from Alliance Girls High School, a teacher of English, an author and an examiner. With me is our lovely teacher. Please say hi to our lovely learners.
Hello learners, today is Teacher Rispa with you. I'm a teacher at PCA Kikuyu High School. I teach English and literature. I'm an author as well as an examiner. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, today we are going to look at our fifth story, the story Ivory Bangles by Eric from Tanzania. It's our fifth story from the anthology of short stories, A Silent Song, and Other Stories. I hope you learn from this session and it helps you to tackle the essay questions from the short stories. Check our page as well. We have looked at the first four stories as well as the book Fathers of Nations. So to start us off, I'm going to look at the plot analysis of the short story The Ivory Bangles. I'm going to look at how the events follow each other, and I'm going to use the episodic approach. Remember, learners, we said for you to be able to understand the plot line of every story, of every set book, the best way to go is to use the episodic approach. So I'm going to use the episodic approach for this story. This story is a short one, so it has only 4 episodes. The first episode is titled The Seer. The Seer. So in this story, we are first introduced to an old man who apparently is a counselor of the chief in this community. So he was on his way from seeing the seer because in this community, they believed that if something out of the ordinary happened, you're supposed to go see a seer so that they can advise you and tell you or give you the remedy for the occurrence. So this man had seen blood in the liver of one of the goats that he had slaughtered. And according to him, it was not an ordinary thing. So what does he do? He goes to see the seer to explain to him what he had actually seen. So he was on his way from the seer's place and he was disturbed. He was disturbed because when the seer threw the pebbles, the information that he got from the pebbles was disturbing to him. He had actually been told that someone is going to die, and that person was supposed to be his wife. The reason for his wife dying is because, according to their tradition, a man was supposed to regularly beat his wife. It was a show of love. So you were supposed, as a man, you're supposed to keep on beating your wife to show her love. It was an expression of love. Now, this old man has never beaten his wife. Remember, now they are old. That's why I'm referring to him as an old man. They even have a grandchild. So this woman has been called a grandmother before she has ever been beaten by her husband. So actually that was now against the tradition. So the seer tells the old man that it's against the traditions for a woman to grow until the age of being called a grandmother without ever being molested by her husband. So the solution was go, beat your wife, and after beating her, send her back to her parents' home. So the man was disturbed because he loved his wife. He loved his wife so much and he could not imagine beating her. So he goes home and tries to share this information with his wife. So that is the first episode, The Seer, where the man goes to ask for help or for some sort of clarity from what he saw in the liver from the seer. Now, the second episode is called, I referred to it as expression or show of love. So this episode shows us the relationship between this old man and his wife, the old woman. So the moment the man gets home from the seer's place, the woman or the wife shows on displays a love for her husband. First, we are told that she removes his sandals. Then she bathes him, and then she rubs oil on his body, making the man feel so relaxed. It's like a weight has been lifted from his shoulders. So that was an expression of love. And from the way the book describes it, it's something that she does every day. When the husband comes back, she takes off his sandals, his clothes, bathes him, and rubs him. Or better, you can say massage him. So another expression of love is the love towards their grandchild. We are told that their son had one child who was a boy. So they went and requested their son that he gives them the child so that they can stay with him and spoil him and dote on him. So they loved that boy so much and they spoiled him. We even told that the boy shared the bed with his grandmother. Another place where we are showed the bond between these two characters is how the wife lovingly prepares a very delicious meal for the husband. She prepares the food for the husband, and the old man eats the food and compliments her. She's like, hey woman, you can cook. So yes, he praises the cookery skills of the wife. So that's an expression of love. Another point is this man totally refuses to get a second wife. According to this community, polygamy was highly upheld, especially if you have a powerful position in the community. And he was the advisor or the counselor of the chief. And according to them, he was like a small chief. And it has never been heard of where a chief has only one wife. So before the great chief died, the one who was there passed on, he called him and advised him to take a second wife. But he says no, he cannot take a second wife. He had even gone ahead and made ivory bangles that were etched with mnemonic marks for a long love poem. So he killed elephants, carved bangles from the ivory, and made mnemonic marks from a very long love poem to express or as a show of love towards his wife. Now, the third episode is referred to as the plan. This is going to take us back to what the Pebbles said, that this man should go beat his wife and send her back to her parents' home. So after being told what the Pebbles said and what the seer said, the wife says that she has a plan. She actually says that the seer is being malicious, the seer is not being honest, because according to her, the seer wanted to marry her, but she refused. So it's like the seer was trying to get back at her by having her husband beat her up. So she says that she has a plan. And the plan was that after coming from the market the following day, she would prepare a very delicious meal for her husband, feed her grandson, then cover food for her husband carefully, and then she would pretend that she's crying, weep so loudly, and then go to her brother's or her people's home and say that the husband has beaten her for no reason. So she was supposed to go to her brother's home because her parents were long dead, and so their homestead had been occupied now by the brother. So she had planned to go, prepare everything, pretend that she has been beaten, go home crying, ancestral home crying, make noise and say that she has been beaten for no reason. That was actually a plan. But we're not told that she shared this plan with the husband. She did not share with the husband. So I think it's something that she had planned. The husband says, I don't know what you're going to do about it. And the wife tells him, I have a plan before they fall asleep. So the plan was after going there, then she would go, stay there until the husband goes to get her. And then after the husband goes to get her, her plan was to refuse to accompany her husband back until now. The clans of both sides, her clan and the clan of her husband, meet and try to reconcile them. And then during this reconciliation, then they would like take beer, and then the husband
Be a fine.
yes, there would be a fight. The husband would be fine, and now that is the time she would go back. And according to her, this plan was meant to totally confuse the spirits. The spirits of the seer, the spirits in the pebbles. That the spirits would think for sure she had been beaten, and so she went back to her husband's place, and so the clan members came to pick her up. So that is our third episode. Our last episode, remember learners, I said we have 4 episodes for this short story. Our last episode is titled The Elephant. So this woman the following day goes to the market. And in the market, she hears word has it that there are elephants which have left the near forest, and now they are attacking the village. They are in the village causing chaos. So we have scouts who are informing and updating the villagers on the whereabouts of the elephants. So this woman says that she doesn't take she doesn't listen so much about the elephants. It's like
She ignores.
she ignores. It's not an important matter to her. So she buys everything she wants from the market, goes home and cooks just like she had planned to cook for husband, and covered the food very carefully. Now she tells herself it's not a sunset. She wants to go in the evening to show that the husband came in the evening and beat her up. She can't go during the day. She tells herself it's not yet sunset. So what can she do with the remaining hours? She can go and till a piece of land near the grove, which her husband said was weedy. So she takes her hoe and goes to her farm. And as she's digging, her focus, full attention is on the action of hoeing or the action of digging or weeding. She does not even hear anything. After long, before she left her home, she heard the scouts talking from a very far place. So she figured out the elephants were very far from her homestead. So her entire focus is on the activity of weeding. She doesn't even hear the elephants come near her. Until now, she hears it's like a snap of a twig. On turning, the elephant was right in front of her. Actually, it's referred to as a big house. It was so big, when she looks at it, the first thing she sees is a very big, dark house. So the elephant attacks, lifts her up, crushes her, and the neighbors just find her dead and buried in a very shallow grave. So the question to you, our learners, is, was the seer right that the wife is going to die? Because look at the events of the plot. Did the spirits in these pebbles realize that she was trying to follow them? Or was it just a coincidence? Think about it and put your comments on our comment section. Now, we are not done with this story. We have to look at the issues. Which issues emerge in this story? When I talk about the issues, I am talking about the thematic concerns. I am talking about the themes. We cannot conclude a story without looking at the themes, because actually that is the core message that the author wants to pass to us, the readers. So I am going to give our teacher Lispa this chance to take us through the issues that are coming up in this short story, Ivory Bangles.
Okay, thank you. We are looking at the thematic concerns, we are looking at the themes, and among the themes we're going to look at is, let's start with the theme that we'll be referring to as superstition. By definition, what is superstition? Superstition is a belief that is not backed by human reasoning, neither is it backed by science. When someone is being superstitious, we are talking about instances when someone believes in things such as seers, things such as ghosts, and in our book, the illustrations that there is a theme of superstition. The first illustration is that a man is slaughtering a goat. When he is slaughtering the goat, he observes specks of blood in the liver of the goat. And this man thinks this cannot be normal. Therefore, he goes to see the seer for consultation. That becomes our first illustration on the existence of the theme of superstition. Another illustration on the theme of superstition, we are going to look at the seer himself and the kind of work that he does. The seer uses pebbles, and when he uses pebbles, he's able to conclude that someone will die, and that someone will die, and it is in reference to a woman, the woman who has never been molested by the husband until right now. She was a grandmother, and this is where the old man, the counsel of the chief, realizes they are talking about his wife. That is another illustration of superstition. What about when the chief's counselor shares it with his wife? As much as the wife dismisses the idea about she needs to be given a thorough beating to appease the spirits, the old man tells her, the seer is only a messenger of our fathers who had left before us. We are seeing that he believes in the people who have died. Therefore, that is still a third illustration on the theme of superstition being existent. Illustration number 4 on superstition, we are going to look at the woman coming up with a plan and the plan is intended to confuse the spirits. You see, she's even acknowledging that the spirits have some kind of influence on their lives, therefore, the theme of superstition. On to our second theme. Let's talk about the theme of love, and I'll compile it with marriage. Love and marriage. Most of the points will fall under marriage, and we're looking at the marriage between the chief's counselor and his wife. When I'm looking at their marriage, it is characterized by a lot of love. Therefore, you now see how I was able to connect love and marriage. When you're looking at love, what are the illustrations to the existence of love in this story? We are looking at a woman who is dutiful towards the husband. As my colleague had earlier cited an example, she talks about this woman goes ahead, prepares a meal for the husband, even later on, unstraps his sandals. This man can take off his own shoes, but the woman feels it. I should unstrap his sandals, goes ahead to wash this man, and goes ahead to bathe this man, and even oils him until the man's body relaxes. That is an example of romantic love, the woman towards the husband. We also look at the husband. The husband is also exhibiting some illustrations of love towards the wife. The husband, for instance, he has never subjected the wife to a beating as expected by the tradition, despite the fact that it was allowed by tradition. This man, because of the love because of the love he has for the wife, he has never subjected her to any kind of beating. Still, on the man, when he is advised, go and give your wife a thorough beating, the man says, he tries to negotiate with the seer, telling the seer, I will give many goats as a form of appeasement, but do not make me beat my wife. That is also another illustration of love. We also see under the theme of love, we are seeing that these people are intimate. There's a time that the old woman sneaks away from the bed. She shares with the grandson, so that she goes ahead and has an intimate moment with the husband. That one is also in the story. Still about this marriage, the theme was love and marriage. About their marriage, we also see, apart from it being characterized by love, we also see it being characterized by a lot of appreciation. This man appreciates, for instance, the cooking of his wife. He tells the wife, woman, you can cook. That is an appreciation for the kind of food the wife had prepared. And even as he is eating the food, he feels in his own mind that this food has been made up to, it has been made to higher standards. That is his appraisal of the wife's food. Still on the theme of marriage and appreciation, you're looking at the marriage characterized by appreciation. Another appreciation comes from the wife. Another appreciation comes from the husband. The husband, when he's appreciating the wife after she gave birth to their first son, to their firstborn, who was also their only son, we see that the man awarded the woman by giving her 24 ivory bangles. That one was also a sign of appreciating the wife. The wife, on the other hand, she also wishes well for the husband. When the husband tells her about her good food, she talks about, there's something she said about live long, the son of a chief. She wishes him a long life, have a long life, son of the chief. That one, you also see that she wishes him well. Away from the love between this man and the woman, there's also a love exhibited towards their grandson. We see this man coming from seeing the seer and his day and his duties during the day. He asks, how is my grandson doing? That is also a sign of care, a sign of love. We are going to our third theme, that we shall call it domestic violence. Violence that is at the level of the home. Illustration number 1. The seer is telling the old man, subject your wife to a thorough beating. Beating coming from a husband to a wife is one example of domestic violence. A second example of domestic violence, you can talk about when this woman is hoeing the garden. She thinks about her son who has subjected his wife. Was the name Lucera? He had subjected the wife to a thorough beating that she almost saw her grave. That means the son of this woman had beaten his wife to near death. That is also another example of domestic violence. We cannot go away from this story without dealing with a major theme that you're calling tradition. As much as I did not start with tradition, tradition is actually a major theme, and tradition refers to a people's way of life, incorporating what they believe, incorporating their culture. And I'll not incorporate the points on superstition because I've already spoken about superstition, but superstition, the points can still come under tradition. A people's way of life. How do these people live? Number one, polygamy was upheld. We are looking at this man, as much as he was given an important position, he is a counselor, he is a chief's advisor. But at the same time, the old chief used to tell him, why don't you marry another wife? That shows that they upheld tradition. Another thing is about tradition, another illustration, there was a naming routine. These people used to name their children in a certain routine. We are looking at this old lady. When she's referring to the grandchild, she refers to the grandchild as my husband, but in quotes.
Yes.
In quotes, meaning that the child had been named after her husband. The child was not really the husband, but husband in quotes, named after the grandfather. That is it. Another thing about the naming, we see that people usually mistake maybe the naming and they call it the birth ceremony. When someone is giving birth, really, you'll have to wait until the birth is over and then you can do a naming ceremony.
Yeah.
During the naming ceremony is where we are seeing that the woman was awarded with 24 ivory bangles. And the ones that she adorned on her wrists, they had some mnemonic inscriptions that were of a love poem. Another thing, now on point number 3, under the theme of tradition, we are looking at what happened in case of an offense in a marriage. In case of an offense in a marriage, you see that a woman was required to go back to her people. When this woman is scheming that plan, she talks about, I'll go back to my brother's household. And you're learning the brother was now occupying the position of the parents already dead. Now, in the place of the parents, the eldest brother takes over. Therefore, if you need to go back to your people, you go back to your eldest brother. Now, in that fantasy of hers, though she'll be going back to her people, we are seeing that the man in her plan will be required to come back for her. And when he's coming back for her, she will have to refuse until the elders sit down together, they negotiate until it ends up with the fining of the man, and then she can go back to her people. Therefore, you see that there was a set way that they used to handle conflicts. That is also an issue on tradition as point number 3. Finally, we are on the last theme that you're calling, theme number 5, conflict between wildlife and humans. There's a conflict between wildlife and humans. A case, for instance, let's look at example number 1. The old man, we are learning that he was a wood carver, and he would make carvings. Among the carvings that he had gifted his wife were made out of elephant tusks. Now, for the elephant tusks to be acquired, first of all, an elephant has to die. That is what you're seeing. That is a conflict. Another example of conflict between humans and wildlife, we are seeing the scouts calling out that the elephants are coming our way. People be aware, people keep safe. And then later on, how does the woman die? She dies after being trampled by an elephant, a bull elephant, one among the elephants that were wreaking havoc. Those are some of the issues that we are seeing coming out from the story and Ivory Bangles.
Thank you,
Ivory Bangles, yes.
Thank you, Teacher Rispa. So that was a very clear elaboration on the issues that we have in Ivory Bangles. And there are many more. Remember, we said that we focus so much on the major themes because sometimes we might miss 1 or 2 minor themes. So if you still can see another minor theme with a clear illustration, please go ahead and maybe write to us in the comment session. So today we are going to mark our the end of our session right now. But do not forget, go to Top Notch Online TV and press that subscription button. It's a very good education channel, not only for English but for so many other subjects. Subscribe and get informed and educated. Until next time, see you.
Goodbye.